Hello, everybody. Welcome to Telecaster Tuesday. I'm your host, Joe Wentz, and welcome to the Joe Wentz Project TV channel. Enter now to win a brand new... How are y'all doing, man? Welcome. I hope everybody's doing well. It is Telecaster Tuesday, so I broke out this 50s road-worn telly. That's what I broke out today. Man, I haven't been up long, so pardon me for my improper speech. And I'm sporting the Greg Allman t-shirt, right? Spirit of Greg Allman, wonderful artist, singer, songwriter, the best blues voice I've ever heard in my life, as far as Southern rock and just about anything. One of my favorite singers, Greg Allman. Mr. Sean, how are you, man? How are you doing? Dry heat. Dry heat. What did I win? R2, R3's in the house. He goes, hey, Joe, that's that telly that I love. Thanks, man. Yeah, it's a beautiful guitar. I've had it now for, I don't know, probably 4 years, 3 years, 4 years, something like that. It's a great guitar. It was $9.99 from American Musical when I got it. Yeah, that's right. It's a 2012, so I've had it longer than I thought. Okay, well, 6 years. Wow, time goes by quick. Wow. Mr. Fisher, how are you doing, man? Sean Jensen says, nice. Thank you, man. Appreciate that, sir. Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate it. I just thought I'd mess with the telly some a little bit, Sorry about yesterday, but it was I was kind of behind the eight ball, so to speak, as far as time goes. Before I go live, I try to come in here and warm up just a little bit, just to try to get the fingers moving. And some days that it's great, and some days it's a struggle. And but yesterday, man, I was like, man, I gotta go. I have to be down at Savannah by a certain time, right? And to beat another truck that brings in ice cream down there. So, but we did it. Everything was cool. So today and tomorrow is just kind of laid back. Hey, that's a Greg Allman song, laid back. So, yeah. So hopefully we'll get 45 minutes to an hour today, I hope. So y'all sit back, relax. If you got any questions, comments, please feel free. If this is your first time tuning in, please subscribe, man. We'd love to have you. I love doing guitar-related vlogs like this right here, live streams. Just a little plethora of stuff, try to mix and match, so to speak. Thank you, Randall. He says, sorry to hear about your truck. Thanks, man. Yeah, it's down the street at another fella's house, and I don't know what the outcome is yet. I have no idea. So everything's kind of up in the air right now. I just, I got my fingers crossed. I have to actually cross my fingers. My fingers, I don't know if it's arthritis or what, but I can't technically, how you could do it when you was a kid? Man. So, thank you, though. So it's up in the air, man. And I'm like, man, really? It's like you think about things sometimes. You're like, why is this happening? I don't know. They say there's a reason for everything, but this right here, I don't understand the reason. So we'll see. Ben Coombs, he says, happy Telly Tuesday. Oh, hey, man. Happy Telly Tuesday to my friend and brother, Mr. Ben Coombs. Sean, it reminds me of the movie Crossroads. Yeah, I'm looking for Willie Brown. Willie Browns don't live here. That's my I love that movie. That's one of my favorite movies. I like when he's going to the nursing home to find Willie Brown, and he finally, you know, gets a hold of him and starts talking to him. He goes, "Come on, Willie, we can cut a new record." And he goes, "Do you remember this?" Now, I don't remember what the lick was, but it's like, you know. Willie says, "Sounds like bird shit." I said, "Damn." He just cut his ass down quick, boy. I laugh my butt off when I see that part every time. Willie don't care nothing about getting out of that nursing home. That's all he cares about. And he'll use that Karate Kid to any expense to get his ass out of there. Yeah, I love that movie. One of my favorite movies, though. Crossroads. That is awesome, man. Awesome movie. A beautiful tone here this morning with this Road Worn Telly. We're using the lipstick pickup here, the neck pickup. And we're going through the Boss Katana. Don't mind this for a second. Helps me feel better. There we go. Music, a powerful, powerful tool, man. Whether you like to listen to it, whether you like to play it. Either way, that right there just helps me deal with all the BS that's going on, right? It just puts me in that place, man, where I can just like, you just kind of feel that weight lift off a little bit. Just momentarily, right? It's a beautiful thing about playing guitar, something that I've always loved since I started in 1986 when I was a young lad of 16. God almighty. Yeah. Ben Coombs doing some jamming later. Last night's practice was canceled due to inclement weather. Yes. Oh, man. Thank you for the thumbs ups, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. Anybody know what that is? Here's a hint. Thank you, Mr. Sean. He says, cool shirt. Thanks, man. Yeah, it was a Facebook find. You know, that's where I got it. And I have another shirt coming soon. It's going to be really cool. As you may or may not know, I like Star Wars, man. I'm not one of those people, whatever you want to call it, that goes to the conventions and all that stuff. I mean, I just always been infatuated with the movies when I was a kid, you know, and thought it was a cool world, you know, but I've never been one to go to the conventions or nothing like that. But anyway, that new shirt that's coming, it has something to do with that in a way. I won't say nothing else till the shirt gets here. If you're on Facebook a lot, you might have seen this shirt, and it has something to do with Princess Leia as well. So that's all I'm going to say about that. And pretty cool. So when that comes, I'll be wearing that to sport for everybody to check out. You know, it's cool. All right, wait a minute, Mr. You're working on what now, Mr. Coons, with a logo on it? What's that now? I can't. R2, R3, thank you for being here. He says he'll catch y'all later. Catch us later. Isn't it ironic? His car is at the mechanic. Wow. So, yes, be safe, R2, R3. Excuse me. Mr. Collins, how are you, sir? Pardon me. Thank you for joining. I'm trying to heat. Do I ever get into Doyle Brand Hall in a second? No. I do know that, who's the guy that always jams with Eric Clapton on the Crossroads festivals? Excuse me. Is that him or is that his son? I couldn't tell you. Excuse me, man. Thank you, Abdul. Abdul, I give you a thumbs up. I watched it first. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Abdul. It makes me wonder, is Mr. Abdul, is he a prince? Is it Prince Abdul or just Mr. Abdul? I don't know. I don't know. You have to be on your best behavior around him. Cool deal. Mr. Coombs is in the chat with some great information with Fender amps. He says they're going to be revealed at NAMM. That's very awesome. Very cool. Yes, Mr. Dry Heat. He goes, yeah, that's him. He plays his guitar up. He literally takes a guitar, turns it upside down, and he plays it that way. I mean, he could take my guitar and turn it upside down, and that's how he plays normally, you know, without restringing it or anything. Yeah, I've watched him on a bunch of those Eric Clapton Crossroads, and I was like, how in the world does he play like that? And what's another artist that does that, another guitar player? Eric Gales Hey, Charlie, how are you, man? Thank you for joining, sir. Eric Gales does the same thing. He's a blues player, I guess, rock blues player. I saw the captain interview him. I think it was toward the end of last summer. Albert King, Michael Collins. There you go, another one. Albert King. Thank you very much. Yes, I forgot about Mr. King. And I guess that's where they're getting it from. So man, so I was just like, wow, how in the world? Uh, yeah, so I saw Eric Gales was. I remember seeing him a lot in the guitar magazines in the late '80s, mid to late '80s, and he stirred up some a little bit of fame there in the guitar community. I remember I was like, Eric Gales, who was that? And I remember he was, getting a lot of pretty good bit of notoriety there, and then everything just kind of faded. And I think he went down the rabbit hole of maybe some drinking and drugs, possibly, but he got straightened out. I think that's why he kind of disappeared for a long time. But now he's back, playing better than ever. Awesome guitar player. Yeah, and the other gentleman that Dry Heat mentioned, Doyle Bramhall, or whatever his name, I can't remember. I don't know if that's right or not. He's fantastic too. But how these guys play a guitar upside down is beyond me, man. I'm doing good to play it regular, just man. Charlie S says he saw Eric Gales in a club last year. He was amazing. Yeah, he's phenomenal, man. I mean, he is just unbelievable, man. Like I said, I remember seeing him in the guitar magazines back in the day, and of course there wasn't no YouTube or nothing back then. But I remember seeing all the little pictures of him, and I was like, is he playing that guitar upside down or something like that? I was like, what, and I was like, well, he's in the guitar magazine. He must be pretty good. This was years ago, years and years ago. Sure enough, since the invention of YouTube, now you can see all that stuff. And I saw him play, and I was just like, my God, he was just phenomenal, man. And, I've seen little clips of him on Facebook doing stuff, backstage, just sitting there, just jamming, noodling around, like it's nothing, like it's just, just. He's just messing around, And for me, it's always a struggle. For some guitar players, they can do it like they're scratching their back. It's just nothing. For me, it's like, okay, let me concentrate here and make sure I'm doing this and this, and I still find myself hitting wrong notes and all this and that. It's always a struggle. It's always a fight. But there are times where you can tame the beast, and there are times where it gets you. But, that's the whole fun part of it, because once you get it, you're like, oh, okay, I got that. I finally got that part down. Whether it's the simplest thing, just control, just all kind of stuff. That's what it's about, control, Yes, Mr. Charlie S. We were talking about that a second ago, that how he just takes the guitar, like my guitar, and just turns it upside down, and that's how he plays, And because I remember watching, him do some chords and stuff, and just some scale runs. And when he would be doing the high notes, he would be on top of the neck, instead of it being, and be up here, And I was like, well, hey, that's upside down, And I'd watch his fingers, how his chords were, and I was like, what is that, So then I said, well, he's playing it upside down. Everything's backwards, So, so for somebody like you and me that does a little scale run from low to high would be, it would, it would just be, it'd be backwards for him. That's just how he plays. And I'm like, man, how does that work? Mr. Sean says, can you imagine learning upside down? No, no. I tell you another player who can do that. I guess you would call it ambidextrous. That's Steve Vai. He can do that, man. And what's the guy's name? I don't know if I'm Michelangelo Battio or whatever. He can do that. I'm like, my God. See, it's just, that's what I'm telling you, man. That stuff that's like too much. You know, even when the guy was doing it back in the 80s and the 90s, now you see people doing that, but it's sad to say, it's not as impressionable as it used to be back then, because everything's been done to the guitar. There's been so many things that have been achieved, and it's like, what can be done now? You know, I think that's why they've come out with all these 8-string guitars and 7 strings and all this stuff. Jaden James, how are you, man? All this different stuff. Simon Williams, how are you, sir? How are you? But yeah, you know, I saw that stuff back then. I was like, how is he playing 2 guitar necks? You know, I'm like, well, okay, I'll never be able to do that. I'm doing good to do A minor pentatonic scale. So, yeah, man. So it's everybody's in there. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for the thumbs ups. Thanks for jumping in. I appreciate it very much. So yeah, a lot of great players, man. There's a lot of great players still out there. There was man. Did y'all hear or see on the? I know this is kind of not really off topic, but it's got to do with music. But did you see on Facebook where Neil Diamond is retiring because they found out he has Parkinson's, and he's like, what is he, 70? He's in his mid-70s? I was like, my God. And that was sad, man. He's going to retire. I didn't know he was that old. I thought he was maybe getting close to 70. I didn't know he was in his mid-70s or later 70s. I had no clue. Didn't know that. The one main movie with him in it that I remember, I think it came out in 80 or 81, was The Jazz Singer. And I love that movie. I know, call me crazy, but that is an awesome movie. Love that movie. And yeah, fantastic. And the woman that plays his love interest in that movie, that he ends up getting with later, is actually Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz's daughter. Yeah, sure enough. I thought that was wild. I didn't find that out till later, you know. But I thought that was a cool piece of information, you know. Yes, dry heat. That's right. It takes more talent to play from the heart. Yeah, that's it, man. And Mike's himself. How are you, sir? Dry heat says great movie. I love that movie, man. I remember. I don't know how many. 5, 6 years ago, I bought that movie on DVD. This is before, you know, I had anything to stream or anything like that. Netflix was around, but they didn't have the streaming services then. It was like, you know, you can rent a DVD and return it whenever you want. Remember when Netflix did that? You paid so much a month and they sent you a DVD and you keep it for 6 months or whatever, and then no late fees, and then turn it back. You know, then they got where they started streaming and they just took over. They're the juggernaut now. Juggernaut? Is that right? They're the king of that stuff now. Yes, Mr. Williams, that is correct. That's right. He was in the last waltz. All right, Mr. Williams, thank you, man, for popping in. I appreciate it very much. Thank you for being here. That's right. It's Tuesday. It's practice day for Mr. Simon Williams. That's right. That's right. Well, thank you, Mr. Williams, for taking the time to say hello, man. Yeah, he's, 6 hours ahead of us on the East Coast. So, yeah. Yes, Mr. Sean. Hired Gun. Hang on. Pardon me. Hired Gun. Fantastic movie. Yes. I saw that. Man, that was in October or something. I saw that movie. I was browsing through my Amazon Instant Video app, and it said new releases, and it said Hired Gun. And I was like, Hired Gun, what is that? But I saw like I can't remember, it was a guitar player or something on the front. And I said, what is that? And I looked at the preview. I said, oh, I'm buying that. I mean, I just from watching the preview, I bought it. Now it's on Netflix. You can see it for free. But yeah, fantastic movie. It really goes into detail about what these musicians go through nowadays to make a living, from the way it used to be and what they're doing now. And it's a fantastic movie. It's really interesting to see, pardon me, how they try to keep things going, and they play with so many different bands so they can keep the money rolling in, right? Because if they're not playing, they're not making anything, right? They're not making nothing. So it's like, man. Likes himself. He says he's ready for NAMM to be over. He's so sick of the hype. That's funny, Mike. Mike's himself. That's funny. Oh, man. Mr. Sean can't believe what they got paid. Yeah, on Hired Gun. Yeah, there's some of them, I guess, I don't know how that works, but it's kind of surprising. Some of them get paid decent. Some of them get paid really well. Some get paid, not too well, but enough to get by on, I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure how that salary per diem, whatever thing works. I have no clue. That's one thing really that kind of, I wanted to be a full-time musician when I was a lot younger. I really did. And my hat goes off to people who do that, who pursue that. But, I got married when I was young, had a child, and I was like, trying to do the gigs and getting a band and, starting from nothing ain't going to cut it. I got to make money. I got to, provide, so that's why that didn't really go anywhere. It's like you get to a point in your life where you're like, okay, do you follow your dreams? Or do you say, okay, look, man, I got to go to work. I got to have something I'm going to get paid every week. I know I'm going to get paid. It's a steady income. It's reliable, and be able to live and survive. So that's what I did. Had a chance to play with some bands, not nothing real major, just your average cover bands, stuff like that. 70s and 80s top 40. That was a lot of fun. Did that. And then time went on, and it just got to where I had to work more to cover the basis for financial things, so I had to stop being in bands. So what you see now is pretty much what I do. This is, YouTube is a hobby for me. It's not it's not something I try to make money at, because, if you want to do that, you really have to put a whole lot of time and effort in it and upload constantly all the time. And you have to make sure your content is always good. It's a hard job. YouTube isn't as easy as people think, if you want to make a living off of it. So I just love doing YouTube because to me it's fun. It's fun to do videos. I love doing videos, I get a kick out of that. And doing live things right here, I really enjoy that too. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of things I've learned from people, from friends on here about certain things with guitars and stuff like that, gear, the Boss Katana, how I learned about that from friends on here doing live stuff, and the Go Mixer and the iRig 2, I learned that from other people, I didn't just come up with it myself, I'm not that bright. So it's pretty cool, Social media can be a good thing. Charlie S. Hired Gun, the documentary, makes Billy Joel look like a creep. I'm going to tell you what, I don't know Mr. Joel personally, so I can't, say a whole lot. But yeah, I have to agree, Mr. Charlie, that was pretty wrong how he had his band members for so long and just dropped them because of money, because he didn't want to pay as much money, I believe. I could have that wrong, but I'm sure that's what it was come down to was money, And I was like, well, you've been with these guys for, years and years and years. Now, I don't know what happened inside that circle. I mean, there's always two sides to every story, right? And to be fair, Billy Joel, either he didn't want to be in that movie to defend himself, or he just didn't want nothing to do with it. I don't know. But the drummer, the last member was the drummer, right? He was the last original member, and he pretty much seemed like he was telling the truth to me. I don't see why he'd have a reason to lie, but yeah, it was pretty sad, man. I was like, wow, Billy Joel, man, he was like that, man. I was like, why would you do your boys like that? Y'all been together, y'all like family, and then just to drop everybody like that? That was sad. That was sad because you know what, man? I don't care who you are. Excuse me. I don't care who you are. Rich man, poor man, middle class, whatever. Somebody that don't want to work, who cheats the system, whatever. But if you do people wrong, sooner or later, karma comes back around and bites you in the rear. I'm telling you, it comes back around, man. So, if he has done bad things like that, or anybody, it'll come back around, man. It'll come back around. And it's not a pretty sight. That's, in my opinion, that's how I believe. Everybody's got their own beliefs, but that's what I believe, Mr. Ben says, just as bad as what the members of, you talking about KISS? From what I understand, Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer, if that's what you're talking about, the group KISS, those guys make a good paycheck as long as they're working, as long as they're on tour. Those guys make a really good paycheck, but they are not, they don't get any royalties or nothing like that. No, they are, and Tommy Thayer admits that in a book that I read. He said he understands that he is an employee of Gene and Paul, of KISS. He's an employee. He's not a owner of the company or nothing. He understands that. But see, he's smart, man. He knows what he's got. He knows what he's got. And he knows what he's working with. And those guys treat him good because he doesn't cause any static. He's there to do a job. He gets paid to play guitar and do those Ace Frehley licks, wear the makeup, and put on a good show. And he gets a really, really nice paycheck for doing that. The man's smart. He's been with KISS longer than you may think. He's been around KISS for years before he got up to that position of guitar player. I could tell you about that too, because, he used to be like an assistant and all this other stuff. Excuse me, I don't know what's going on today. And for KISS, and he just worked his way up, and it got to where when they had the reunion tours and all that stuff, Ace started to get where he wasn't reliable anymore, Gary Kramer. And they had Tommy Thayer get in the makeup, and they actually had done rehearsals with Tommy. And so there was one major gig that Ace didn't come to. Ace was back in the, doing his old stuff, man, drinking and drugs and all that. Tommy Thayer stepped in, and that was it. It was over with. Peter Criss left first on the reunion tour. He left first. I don't know what his problem was. It was something about money, and I don't know. I heard about all this stuff, through the audiobook, Paul Stanley's audiobook, Face the Music. Very awesome book, by the way. And but yeah, so Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer, man, those guys are really smart. I've heard interviews with those guys, and they know what they're doing, and they're there to do a job. They do the job. They get a great check. And that's it, and they let Gene and Paul do what they want to do. It's their group. And so, they know their place. They know their role, no egos. So that's why they've been with them for so long, because they do what they get paid to do, and they keep their mouth shut. Mr. Sean says he watched the Vinnie Vincent interview yesterday. Yeah, I talked about that on my past couple of streams here. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, Vinnie, he looks kind of rough, man. I mean, but I'm glad to see that he was able to talk, about things. And maybe he's put all that stuff behind him. He's got some closure. So I wish him all the best. I always thought he was a great guitar player. Yeah, it can be over exaggerated on his stuff, and, but he was very talented musician, very awesome songwriter and player. But so maybe things will turn around for him, man. It looks like he's in that right direction. So I wish him all the best. I really do. Mr. Coombs says salary is often set by union scale, or it used to be. Yeah, I have no idea what it is now. I have no clue. I've never got into that area of finances with musicians, but yeah. But uh, yeah, like on that movie Hired Gun, it just makes you wonder uh, what some. I guess the bigger the band, the better salary you're going to make. Even George Lynch talked about that in another book I heard. He said that uh, what is it? Lynch mob seems to be the running joke nowadays, and I was kind of like, what's he mean? The running joke? What's he talking about? In other words, he's saying you got guys that'll come in and they'll be in lynch mob for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then another offer will come through for another band that's got more notoriety and there's better money. And after being in lynch mob for 2 or 3 weeks, they'll leave and go to that other band to make better money. And it's like a rat race, man. And I'm like, man, it ain't like it used to be. It seems like it's a pretty bad struggle, you know, for musicians that used to have the luster and limelight of fame and fortune, like I said yesterday, and now it's, music is different, man. Music ain't like what it used to be. Everything now is computer programmed, and there's hardly any human interaction with instruments anymore, you know. So I don't know, man. It kind of makes you, is it going to come back around or what? It's just it's strange. Mike's himself, yeah, you got to do what you got to do. Yeah, man. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you have to, man. I mean, I would love to be in a band and do that all the time. But, there's a quick story, real quick. Um, my son, there's this group that was been around for a while locally. They're huge locally. They're called Kellen Heller. I'm not really familiar with them. They're kind of a real heavy rock kind of thing here in the South Carolina area. And they've been together for years. And my son's like their number one fan. Whenever they're playing around, I mean, they've played all over the place, but they just never have hit that magic mark. They never have hit the big time. I remember seeing a picture of them on Facebook. Their bass player looks just like Nikki Sixx, man. I was like, damn, he looks like Nikki Sixx. And it was a great group, man. The guitar player, everybody's phenomenal in that group. And I'm like, how come they're not signed yet? Because things are different now. And from what I understand, after being with that group for years, the singer, I think he just quit. There's a site that, I don't know if y'all are familiar with this site. It's called bandmix.com. And you can get on there and look for local musicians and maybe start a band. You can only do so much for free on that site. And of course, once you get to that certain point, you have to pay. Like if you want to contact another musician or send them a message, well, you need to pay, blah, blah, blah. I fell for all that crap years ago. And I was like, you know what, man? Anyway, I got an email from Bandmix. What was it, yesterday or something? And it says, Bandmix has found 11 musicians in your area, new musicians that are on Bandmix. I was like, huh, really? So I clicked it, and there was that dude, Ricky. He was his picture, former singer of Kellen Hill. I was like, huh? I was like, what's he doing on Bandmix? Bandmix is okay. It's kind of like, back in the day, you go to the music store and see the ads on the billboard. Well, that's what Bandmix is now. But there's people I've tried contacting around here, and I'm sure there's some great musicians around here, but they're just maybe they're just not on Bandmix. I don't know, but I've tried contacting, and it just was a joke. I was like, really, man. So that's it. Just number one, I don't have time for all that. So I just do my own thing here. That's it. I know I'm behind on these comments, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm trying to catch up. Ben Coombe says steady pay is nice. Yes. Yeah, it's steady, man. And that's, security. Mr. Sean says, yeah, I believe that, Joe Karma. Oh, man, absolutely. Absolutely. Wow, Mike himself. That's interesting. Man, they gave that dude $1 million when he joined Metallica. Wow, $1 million, like a sign-on bonus, I guess, something like that. I can never pronounce that guy's name, so forgive me. I never was a big Metallica fan, but those guys are great musicians. But that never was my cup of tea, man. Yeah, Mr. Coons talking about Peter Chris on the reunion tour. Yeah, I'm sure that's what it come down to was money, a certain cut. I figured it would be 25% a piece, but I don't know. Since those guys walked away in the beginning years ago and they came back. I don't know what the money was. I have no idea. According to Paul's book, had to do with Peter Chris's wife at the time was trying to intervene and make all these calls on certain things, and Peter will be down there when he gets ready. You have to go through me and all this other, like, she turned into his manager all of a sudden, and they was like, look, this ain't working. So it caused a lot of static, and of course he got back on that binge of drinking and stuff, and he wasn't his playing. I've always heard, I don't know why, this is what I've always heard, his playing wasn't all that great anyway, but then when he would get lit, it got even worse. He couldn't keep time. That's what it says in the book. I don't know. I always, on the records and stuff, everything sounds fine to me, but you never know what goes on behind the scenes, right? Craig, please play some Waylon on this Telecaster. I don't know any Waylon. I don't know. I don't know if I know any, man. I don't know. Good Lord, I need some strings on this thing here, man. And the thing about this Telly, it's got those vintage tuners on it, and I can't stand vintage tuners. I just don't like vintage tuners, man. That's about close as I can get, man. Yeah, dry heat. I saw that on Facebook. There's talk of Joe Satriani wanting some other players for G3. Eddie Van Halen being one of them. Billy Gibbons. Now, whether that's true or not, I have no clue. I guess so. Dry Heat said he got an email from Guitar World about it. So I just don't. Number one, can you imagine how much tickets would be for that? If Eddie Van Halen was on the bill for that? I just don't see him doing that. He could. I mean, it could shock everybody and do it. I don't know. I was shocked to see Phil Collins on this G3. I was like, what's he doing on there? But I guess he didn't have nothing else going on. I know that I think I heard a couple of days ago that Def Leppard and Journey are going to tour this summer. Yeah, they're going to tour together. So that's going to be pretty wild. I think that'd be a good show. Def Leppard hasn't stopped touring. They're still touring big venues. That's awesome. So, yeah, Eddie Van Halen on a G3. Good Lord Almighty. I don't know. Kind of makes you wonder what's going on with him. He's kind of just been gone for a while, hasn't he? Michael Bishop, how are you, sir? Oh, wow. Mr. Craig says he just got his vintage 50 Squire Telly. It rocks. Oh, congratulations, man. That's fantastic. Yes, Dry Heat. He goes, yeah, Billy Gibbons and all them. It kind of ends with a question mark. Yeah, it's I think it's something that Satriani just mentioned to an interviewer or something, and he probably said, I'd love to have Eddie Van Halen and some other guys, because he's kind of had the same lineup for a while. I mean, it was Steve Vai for years, which is awesome, and I know Eric Johnson was on one, Yngwie, because I've got a few of those on DVD over the years. Eric Johnson was on the very first one, which he's one of my favorite guitar players. Satch and Steve Vai and Eric Johnson, that was the first one. Then you had some with John Petrucci, whatever you say. I can't never pronounce his name, Petrucci. And Yngwie was on one of those, which was cool. And now you got Phil Collin, and I think Paul Gilbert's been in there. I think what is it, Johnny Lang? I think Johnny Lang's been on a couple of those shows. There's been quite a few different guitar players that's been on the G3. Very interestingly enough, and but yeah. ZZ Top hadn't been doing nothing either, so I don't know. I guess it just remains to be seen. That would be cool, if that were to happen. But something tells me that Eddie ain't gonna do that. That's just my gut instinct. I don't see him doing nothing like that. I don't know. Okay, are we back now? Okay, sorry. I apologize. I had the USB plugged into my laptop, and I don't know what happened. I think my laptop just went off, even though I have it plugged in, but it's not active. So the laptop just shut down. So I had to go to another power source. I'm sorry. I apologize. Thank y'all for letting me know, because I was still talking. Robert Plant says no to Led Zeppelin concerts. Yeah, he's said that for a while, correct? And, man, sad. Crazy. We know he don't need the money. I guess he just is over all that stuff. I guess he's just like, I don't need to do that. I guess he's had enough of it. I know Jimmy Page would like it. But, oh well, we'll still have all the memories, right? All the cool footage on YouTube of past Zeppelin things we could watch, right? Thank you, everybody, for watching. I really appreciate it. And I'm sorry for the dead audio there for a second. And hope you'll have a great day. Thanks for watching. Appreciate that. And hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully. We're almost at that hour mark, so we're going ahead and wrap up real quick. And thank you again. Y'all have a great day. Let me check this real quick. Mr. Craig, it is a 3-way switch on this telly. Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Dry Heat. That was the makeup show where you saw Van Halen with Sammy playing in the streets of Dallas or Texas. That was that makeup show. That was the, I think it was during the Monsters of Rock show. Excuse me. And they played, and Sammy lost his voice. And Sammy walked on stage and told everybody, we'll be back to do this show for free. And it pissed off Eddie and Alex so bad. So it was 3 years till they made good on that, according to Sammy's book. So they came back 3 years later and played in the streets of downtown Dallas, whatever, for free. That's what that was. That was that makeup show. So thank y'all, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. And don't forget now, the subscribe button is right here, and another video is right here. Check it out. Y'all come back again. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.